extraordinary change taking place in the Middle East and North Africa. The people have risen up to demand their basic human rights. And after years of war against Al-Qaeda and its affiliates, we have dealt Al-Qaeda a huge blow by killing its leader, Osama bin Laden.
So you killed bin Laden, and that was a turning point for you. Bin Laden was responsible for the murder of countless Americans, so you focused on him, and you found him, and you assassinated him. But we are faced with many bin Ladens every day, not just one. What gives you the right to decide that we should negotiate with our bin Ladens while you take yours out?
There are times in the course of history when the actions of ordinary citizens spark movements for change because they speak to a longing for freedom that has been building up for years. In America, think of the defiance of those patriots in Boston who refused to pay taxes to a king, or the dignity of Rosa Parks as she sat courageously in her seat.
You speak of freedom and bravery and human dignity. Does that not apply to the people of Israel who have the same inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Would you negotiate with an entity that forswears ever recognizing your right to exist? And more so, would you oversee the establishment of a terrorist state on your border, on your land, peopled by those who have forsworn your destruction? I think not.
For over 2 years, my administration has worked with the parties and the international community to end this conflict, building on decades of work by previous administrations. Yet expectations have gone unmet. Israeli settlement activity continues.
Are the people of Israel in this world in order to meet your expectations or the expectations of the quartet? What about the expectations of the people of Israel for human rights, for their basic dignity, for their right to live as a free people in all of their homeland, unfettered and without the threat of extinction, without the threat of occupation, because we're currently being occupied by an enemy that refuses to recognize our very right to existence? And once again, you are employing the historical lie that Israeli settlements are the obstacle to peace, when we all know that the PLO was founded before there were any settlements, when all the Palestinian leaders, whether Fatah or Hamas, admit this is not about settlements, this is about Haifa, this is about Tel Aviv, this is about Jerusalem, and the Palestinians will not be satisfied until the Zionist entity disappears. It's got nothing to do with settlements. It's got everything to do about whether or not the people of Israel have a right to exist.
The fact is, a growing number of Palestinians live west of the Jordan River. Technology will make it harder for Israel to defend itself.
What about the fact that a growing number of Jewish Israelis live on the west side of the Jordan River? Technology is going to make it more difficult for Israel to defend itself? It seems to us that the only thing that makes it difficult to defend ourselves is American policy. Are you threatening us? Because we're perfectly capable of defending ourselves if you would only leave us alone.
A region undergoing profound change will lead to populism in which millions of people, not just one or two leaders, must believe peace is possible. The international community is tired of an endless process that never produces an outcome.
What exactly is the outcome that the international community would prefer? Where was the international community in 1948 when the State of Israel was attacked by 5 Arab armies? Where was the international community in 1967 when 4 Arab armies converged upon Israel? Where was the international community in 1973 when Israel was attacked on its holiest day? Where was the international community during the years of the Second World War when 6 million Jews were systematically murdered by an enlightened European society? Perhaps the international community has an agenda, and perhaps the existence of Israel is thwarting the preferred outcome of the international community.
The dream of a Jewish and democratic state cannot be fulfilled with permanent occupation.
Thanks for defining for us what you think the dream of the Jewish state should be. But for the Jewish people, the dream of the Jewish state is a land imbued with the values of the Torah, a land from which flows to the entire world the knowledge of the one true God of Israel, the land that God bequeathed to us according to our biblical boundaries, and it has nothing to do with whether or not the 67 borders are defensible or indefensible and where we could possibly place the negotiated Palestinian state. The dream of the Jewish state is the land of Israel. If the President of the United States knows anything about American history, then for him to say that democracy and occupation are incompatible is nothing but the height of hypocrisy. The American experience is based on colonialism and occupation. However, when it comes to the State of Israel, this notion of occupation is both presumptuous and preposterous. Whose land are we occupying? We have returned to our own land. And according to international law, it's quite clear that Israel, in every war thrust upon her by the Arab states, Israel acted in self-defense.
Let me repeat what I actually said on Thursday, not what I was reported to have said. I said the borders of Israel and Palestine should be based on the 1967 lines with mutually agreed swaps.
Mr. President, I'm not fooled. Now you're trying to backpedal, to qualify, to explain, to mollify. This isn't exactly what you meant, and of course you're not calling upon Israel to recede to the 1967 borders, and of course you'll take into consideration the demographic changes and facts on the ground, and any other way that you seek to explain away the evil that you have proposed, a true revelation of what you intend for the State of Israel. Now you risk re-election and alienating all the supporters of Israel amongst your people. But the people of Israel are not fooled, and we will not lay down our dream of living lives of peace and security and happiness and prosperity in our land, the land of Israel, the entire land of Israel, not to be dictated by your vision. And we will not lay down our lives and sacrifice ourselves upon the altar of your ambition.